must be our goal and our guide. And all that we strive for as a human family, dignity and hope, progress and prosperity, depends on peace. But peace depends on us.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, viewers. Welcome to Punchline Africa Television. Good morning in the United States of America. Those waking up, and good morning in other parts of the world where the time difference is about 6 to 7 hours. Thank you very much for watching us. This is Africa Showdown, a show that is brought to you by Punchline Africa Television in Nairobi, down in the headquarters, where we have Miriam Ogutu. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Doctor. Good afternoon to the rest of the panelists, and good afternoon to our viewers.
Thank you very much. Across the board in the CBD, again in Kenya, we have Professor Jared Onyari. Good afternoon, Professor.
Good afternoon, Dr. Masanga, Miriam, Daniel, and the rest of our viewers this afternoon.
In the same country, down in Nairobi, southwest of Nairobi, I think so, as we have our investigative journalist, Dean Colombo Wesonga. Good afternoon.
A very good afternoon, Dr. Masanga, Professor Jared Onyari, Miriam Ogutu, and our viewers across the globe. Good afternoon.
We shall be joined later on by our correspondent from the coast and other correspondents who will come in, jump in the show. But here we are gone. Thank you very much. This is Punchline Africa Television. I'm Dr. Masanga, broadcasting from the Political Command Center. Miles away from Miriam, back to you in the headquarters. God bless.
All right, thank you so much. And Doctor, just before we get into the topics we have today, perhaps just a few African countries and where we stand as in the case of COVID-19. And Kenya right now, the confirmed cases stands at 25,837. 418 of those people have died, and recovery rate right now stands at 11,899. Uganda, 1,267 cases, and it is also important to note that the cases of Uganda there have ceased, going up, and for a while now it has been steady like that, and the death toll is 6. Recovery is 1,115. And Zimbabwe confirmed cases 4,575. The death toll is 102. Recovery is 1,416. And South Africa, the leading country in the continent, the cases right now is 553,188 cases. 10,210 people have died, and recovery is 404,568. And we go to Rwanda, where confirmed cases is 2,134. 6 people so far have died. Recoveries is 1,300. And then Burundi, the cases also have gone up there just a little bit, 405. 1 person has died, and recoveries is 312. So the total number of confirmed cases in Africa this afternoon is, over the weekend, we passed the 1 million mark, and right now we stand at 1,022,586 cases, and the number of deaths in the continent is 22,514. And recovery so far is 704,704. And of course, the global cases are way past 19.8 million cases. And the deaths is at 729,910. And the global recovery stands over 12.7 plus million people who have gotten well so far. So that's where we are in terms of COVID-19.
Thank you very much, Miriam, for the updates of COVID-19. If you want to find out more about COVID-19 today, what you can do, where you are, where you stand in Africa, please, you can read the article on the legacy trend, which I have actually ably told Africa and African countries what to do and not to do. I have put it there ably, where we are, where we stand, how to be. Is lockup necessary with this political virus that is turning into a nightmare? What is killing people in Africa is the political virus. You notice that everywhere in Africa, in all regions, there is some tension of demonstration. People want to take power, to take a chance to overrun their government. It's not very good. So I have put it on the legacy trend. You can read it for yourselves and find out what exactly I said. And it is a very interesting subject for all those who want to read our African, what problems do we have? The hospitals are overstretched. Materials are not available. Testing equipment not available. Big countries are also fighting for the same equipment. So there we are. What shall we do? How many people are clearing the field, not buying body bags, but preparing for the number of the outbreak? We are nearing that area where the outbreak will be real, and every people on the continent, some places will be really bad. What about Tanzania? What about Malawi? What is happening there? These are some of the questions. That is the article that I put forward this morning. May God help my soul and hold it and give me more spirits. Thank you very much. Back to you in Miriam. Topic number 1, Kenya. Are the NGOs capturing the state? I hand it back to Miriam. If you want me to begin, first introduce the subject.
All right, so what we're going to look at today, as Dr. there has said, we'll start with Kenya, and the topic is there state capture by the NGOs here? And also after that, we'll go to the rest of Africa, where we'll have a few African countries, and the topic that we shall be seeking to delve in is, has the Western world diluted the sovereignty of African countries? And the case study will be South Africa, Nigeria, Uganda, Zimbabwe, South Sudan, and also Tanzania. So Dr., start us with Kenya.
Thank you very much. Yesterday in Kenya, I have the clip which I think our able production team can produce. A number of NGOs under the umbrella of Kenya Human Rights Watch, or Human Rights Organization, which was founded on George Soros' money by one Professor Makau Mutua, read a statement to the whole world and called BBI a scam that has come to fleece people's money in Kenya. That's exactly the words they say. And I'm quoting what they say. It is no exercise. It is useless. They gave it a number of so many things, how the country has been stolen, how Uhuru Kenyatta has stolen money, how corruption has stolen what? There were so many things said yesterday. But the same NGOs 3 years ago were busy in court. What were they doing in court? Why were they in court? Why were several of them applying for amicus curiae, friends of the court, to give what? 3 years. How have these NGOs done anything that will bring peace to this country? I want to be shown one NGO in Kenya that initiated, that went to Uhuru Kenyatta, that went to Raila Odinga, in open day had a meeting and said, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Raila Amolo Odinga, we want you to sit down. If there is one NGO that did that, then I take back my words. But Miriam, believe me or not, the work that President Uhuru Kenyatta did, the stride that they took with Raila Amolo Odinga, cannot be called a scam. It is only the worst enemies, elements, crooked, uncouth, uncultured, zygotes of that nature, of NGO like Kegoro. Kegoro is a zygote. You know why I call Kegoro a zygote? He never goes to court. He claims to be a lawyer of the high standing in Kenya. But he has never won a case between a cat and a rat. You can only measure a lawyer by winning a case between a cat and a rat. Some lawyers have never won a case because that case is very easy to win. If you put a cat and any layman will say, no, Mr. Cat, run away. Or Mr. Rat, run away. But Kegoro has never won a case. Show me one case Kegoro won as a lawyer in the High Court of the Republic of Kenya. His livelihood depends on NGO money. His livelihood depends on selling Kenyans, selling the lives of Kenyans abroad. Remember, Kegoro was also the secretary of Waki report. Wachani Mgongeleo. This is the man whom the Kenyans should actually reach, manhandle, and find out the envelope. Him and Waki wrote the envelope, wrote the aims. The secretary, of course, the secretary of the report could not have known, could not have failed to know the names. Can the secretary of the commission fail to know the names that they wrote to give to Mr. Kofi Annan? It is Kegoro who hates Uhuru Kenyatta. It is Kegoro who hates Ruto. Ruto might be in bed with them now because he's also trying to take power in a different way. And I'm honest, what will you do? The only thing you tell me, I go where I'll go. But I'll still talk wherever I am. And even talk worse because I'm fed up. There are people who have forgotten something. We went through this. We went through this. Kegoro prepared a report that killed Kenya, destroyed this country. Kegoro was the main spring, the spring. There is one layer of the spring and then there is a cushion of the spring. He was the main spring who was looking for money from Reinberger and George Soros. Most of you remember George Soros was physically in Kenya. I think that was the first time he came to this country. He was staying in Norfolk Hotel. I physically saw him. I've been following these cases. So George Kegoro yesterday played the clip. I've sent you, Stephen, the clip. Play it and listen. It's not me. You Kenyans can blame me, but I'm shouting on your behalf. Tomorrow, this thing is going to be big. Thank you. Miriam, as the clip plays, I have opened up my remarks.
All right. Thank you. And Dr.
They want to capture power, state power, use it during this COVID-19, frustrate all efforts. Macau Mutua, they have created another television like mine here called Elephant TV. Githongo is the main anchor. Macau Mutua is the correspondent. David, indeed, the big head, is the analyst. And Kegoro is the legal man. Their TV is called Elephant TV. As you know the word elephant, it is indeed elephant. So the analysis, their hatred against President Uhuru Kenyatta is well known. But are we going to say surely the BBI is a scam? I leave it back to you.
All right, very well. And as we wait for that video to play, while addressing a press conference in Nairobi, George Kegoro of the Kenya Human Rights Commission and Akawive Wambua of the Inuka Kenya and Ndungu Wainaina of ICPC said that President Uhuru Kenyatta is using the coronavirus as cover to extend his control over the state. They accused the head of state of using BBI to weaponize their constitution while at the same time sweeping away politicians who stand on his way. They said President Uhuru Kenyatta is building towards establishing a military state over the entire country as an act of self-succession. I don't even know where that is coming from, but Professor.
You know, Miriam, thank you for that good question. You know, since the handshake between the president and the prime minister on 9th March 2018, do you know some people lost work to do? And these are the NGOs. Because they used to thrive on when the president, when the opposition and the government, when there is calm, there is peace, there is tranquility. It's just like you can't imagine taking a fish from water and putting on land. You know what will happen, it will die. So that's how the NGOs have found themselves, honestly, for heaven's sake. COVID-19 is a global pandemic. We are concerned on how to contain it and save lives. The president has got no intention whatsoever to militarize this country, nor to release the report, but now the focus, and I've said here and again, let us put all our energy in fighting this coronavirus. It is killing people. It is killing people, and it has made people lose their jobs. So the president has done very well, and even when the report was ready, the prime minister was sick. So there is no delay. The report will be released. And remember, the handshake between the prime minister and the president is aimed at uniting the country. So these people, if there is any pet idea you have, bring it on board. We are all Kenyans. How would we build a united Kenya so that we walk to the future with posterity? Which other way will you amend the constitution of Kenya if we will not follow the BBI route? Remember, CORD tried with OCOA. How far they go? So you need goodwill of all Kenyans. As much as they have got freedom of speech to say what they want to speak, let them remember that the Kenya is our country. Our problems will be solved by us. Not even the people giving them money will solve the problem of this country. Let us come together as brothers and we listen together. If you have got an issue, you know, sometimes if you tweet the president, he responds. So if the Baba is someone whom you can reach. So let them not try to bring other issues. The BBI is on course. And believe me, Miriam and my fellow panelists, the BBI will be subjected to referendum and the Kenyan will decide whether they want it or not.
Yes, indeed. I think that will be left to Kenyans to decide. So, Daniel, George Kigoro of the Kenya Human Rights Commission, there, the director there, he seems to be having a problem specifically with what is happening here in Nairobi. And I'll just read a part of that statement that he gave when he was talking. He said, "What is happening in Nairobi is not innocent. Uhuru has killed the idea of political state and has replaced this with a military state, starting with Nairobi." I think he's referring to the NMS that is now seems to be transforming Nairobi. To be honest with you, I think Kenyans, and specifically Nairobian Kenyans in particular, they just want a leadership that will transform their lives, and they just want, whether they don't even care who that is, whether it's the governor, whether it's the councillor, as long as you're working to improve and to deliver, that's what Kenyans want. And we see NMS, a lot of Nairobians are very happy, especially for the people who are not getting the regular water, the people who had bad inroads in their estate. And if you walked around the CBD now, it's particularly looking very fantastic. I don't know. Nairobians are not really complaining so much about the replacement of, not really the replacement, but the NMS department, because we still have the Nairobi governor. So I don't know, what is your take on this? What is the interest, especially in Nairobi, if you went by these statements by the George Kigoro?
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And from my part, I tend to draw a very thin line between the NGOs and the collaborators that we had, pre-colonial collaborators who collaborated with the colonialists to take and steal away land from Kenyans. The only difference is that the current NGOs have land to give back to the Western paymasters, so to say. But one thing about NGOs, when you look at the cycle of the NGOs, is that the NGOs only pump their money where a crisis is, or where there's a very high incentive of creating a crisis. And now, as the handshake is happening, the unity between President Uhuru Kenyatta and the former Premier Raila Odinga is happening. Kenya is so peaceful. Kenya has been has managed to calm down the political temperatures, the tensions that were there before President Uhuru Kenyatta and the NASA leader, former NASA leader, came into a pact on March of 2018. So one thing is that, as Professor said, these people have been deprived of the funding that they have been getting comfortably, the money that they have been enjoying, and therefore, for them to survive in this situation, they have to create more crisis, or maybe they have to give their donors a reason for them to pump more money into their activities. And of course, Miriam, BBI is a document that heals the problems that have been ravaging this country, from the post-election violence, from the problem of unity, from the problem of corruption. And I'm very, very, very puzzled that these NGOs only seem to be concerned about the political leadership of this country. But when it comes to quintessential matters that directly affect the lives of a common man, like the fight against corruption, the fight against Covid-19.
We apologize. There we seem. All right, sorry.
Yeah, they seem not to give it quite the so much attention and importance that it deserves. So to me, these are a bunch of pretenders, people who have positioned themselves strategically only to mint the money that comes from those who want to sponsor and maybe cultivate their activities. Really, it's very absurd to say that President Uhuru Kenyatta is using the BBI to steal from the government, and he's slowly militarizing the country. There's no way you can say that when you see the good work that the NMS is doing, and even the people themselves, the people that the NGOs pretend to be presenting their grievances, are not even complaining. So they should just come back to reality and be able to tell their paymasters whatever truth that is on the ground. That is my perspective, Miriam.
All right. And Doctor, on the same token there, Kituo cha Sheria Programs Officer John Mwariri said the civil society is worried about the direction the country is heading. Is there any grounds that warrants such a grave concern?
Miriam, all these people are talking to eat. They want money. I've told you they have organized Mr. Professor Makau Mutua has gone back to Buffalo University, the School of Sunny in New York. It is a few kilometers away from George Soros' home. So what Professor Makau Mutua is doing is from there, Professor Makau is writing articles that now depict Kenya as a failed state. Then from there, the people, you know, George Soros does not fund. If you go to George Soros to ask for money to open a business, that you want to open a business to import papers from Japan to Kenya, he will not give you. But if you go to George Soros and tell him, I want to overthrow government X in Africa, he will give you. He will give you very quickly. And then while on the way, you go and build a hotel in Kitui. Now, when the hotel has no customers, you have a building, you have to start paying rates for an empty hotel, which should have, if it had been in Nairobi, it would be having customers on a daily basis. He has returned to begging more money. Say Uhuru Kenyatta has militarized the Nairobi area. Uhuru Kenyatta has taken powers. Since when Kegoro? Since when did Kegoro start liking the governor of Nairobi, Mr. Sonko? Since when? Kagoro was one of the people, and they were in Aida. They were one of the people that Chitio Sharia. They were the people writing to the ESC not to clear Mr. Sonko. Now they have come to support Mr. Sonko. Since when did they become friends? Since when? So this whole idea is for money eating and money making. And this is a state capture. You remember the report they released? They said the state has captured, the state is captured by Uhuru and the dynasties. That's exactly the report that they issued when the first BBI came out. None of these guys, and I'm telling you, Miriam, put it on the record. These guys are looking for a way of delivering someone, creating a condition to deliver someone to the ICC. The ICC's lost credibility. The ICC's broken to pieces. The ICC's butchered, maimed by everybody leaving, even Babugo, even the higher court finding that he was not supposed to be put in jail. Credibility is gone. So what the ICC are doing is they are trying to fight back. They are trying to cause a problem in Kenya. And let's not be shy from speaking about it. We are not in security officers. We speak and the security can pick from us if they want. We are not police. We are not the army. We are journalists. And I speak with evidence. There is evidence everywhere in Africa. In Uganda, my country, There is evidence that George Soros is pumping in money to make sure that if this election does not go well, there will be chaos. Already you have seen chaos. Bob Wine cannot even address, cannot even eat food. That is already a disaster. In my own town yesterday, I'm not involved in under politics. And I will make a public statement this week. I don't want anybody to call me anywhere. I campaigned for parties to come, they came. I campaigned for the diaspora to vote, they will vote. What else do I need? I don't want any seat. But you can see the type of campaigns. And Miriam, where will these campaigns leave the country? When one group of the people have received money from America to come and kill the other group that has more money will use their machinery to kill these ones. Where are we heading? If you read this that ties up with the Nation page 4, which I wanted you to read for people, you look at what American intelligence, this American ambassador in Kenya, is busy enjoying in the Tsavo National Park. There is no abduction. There is no killing. But the ambassador in Kenya has filed a diplomatic leak. The ambassador has been actually promoting tourism. How many people have been kidnapped in this country? How many people? If you say we should not speak, you wait, you are going to see. Sindio, they have named Kenya. Don't travel to Kenya. Yesterday, the president was busy calling people to come to Kenya. And immediately, the Americans countered it by saying, Kenya, hakuna kuingia huko. Iko abduction, iko torture. Tuoneshe torture camps ziko wapi? Where are the torture camps? Where are the torture camps? Where are the abductions? The ambassador is kissing the wife in a car park, in the car, Tsavo National Park. They are relaxing. Those pictures are on Twitter. It's the ambassador himself who posted them, kissing his wife, Victoria. I'm not Victoria. So you give, and then you come and give, you put us on sanctions that don't go there. Covid-19 is killing more Americans than Africans. Are people refusing to go to America? Are people refusing to go to America, Miriam? How many Americans are dying every day of COVID-19? Are there no flights go to JFK? There are flights coming in from the whole world. So why do you stop people? It is true. When they give travel alert of terrorism, because terrorism is there, we know sleeper cells are available. We know the bigger cells want to hire sleeper cells. That's why Kenyans must be alert. All those keeping institutions must be alert. When you are checking, don't relax your security. That is a good warning. In Mogadishu, there were several people who died on Friday, you saw. A bomb blast killed so many people. That is okay. But on question of abduction, abductions, kidnapped. Where is the kidnap? Perhaps the kidnap, if there is anybody watching this from Tanzania, come up and tell us, show us this kidnap. Where are they kidnapping people in Kenya? We go and film that kidnapping ring or abduction, torture centers. Yes, there have been a few skirmishes between the police. For example, police in Africa, like a police in America, at the moment, there is no police force in the world which can allow you to demonstrate. If there is one, God help me, bring angel to carry me and I go. Yes, if there is a police force allowing people, the Americans are telling Zimbabweans, to demonstrate. They are telling Kenyans to demonstrate. They are telling people in Mali, Bamako, to demonstrate tomorrow. While in their place, any demonstration now is marked by a knee, to put a knee on anybody they find. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. And in case you're wondering there, this travel alert that Doctor is talking about, it is on today's Daily Sunday Nation on page 4, and I'll just read a bit of it and get a reaction from the rest of our panelists. And it says the U.S. State Department on Friday raised the levels of its advisories on travel to Kenya and other East African countries, partly due to concerns about the spread of coronavirus. And the new alerts urge prospective visitors to the region to reconsider travel to Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, and Uganda. That is the third highest of 4 levels of travel advisories by the State Department. Level 4, do not travel alerts, are issued for Somalia and South Sudan. Now, on Kenya, the State Department notes in regards to COVID-19 that the government has lifted stay-at-home orders and resumed some transportation options and business operations. Travelers are urged to exercise increased caution in Kenya due to crime, terrorism, health issues and kidnappings. So I think earlier on we were having this conversation, and I was just wondering, are you telling people, because right now the whole world is concerned about COVID-19, but it has been a while since we've witnessed any kind of form of a terrorism alert that will bring the country to its knees. So I don't know if this is really necessary during this time. They're saying if you're coming to Kenya, then you have to be cautious because the rate of crime has gone up. There's terrorism and also health issues. I would assume that is COVID-19 and also kidnappings. Professor, is this in good faith?
Miriam, I'm very much disturbed by that statement. America is our friend. We have continued to suffer because of the American, the foreign policy of the Americans. And we have said we cannot denounce our friends simply for the sake of giving in to the terrorists. The Americans should know that should Kenyans decide today, say that we don't have any relationship with you, we will not have any problem with the terrorists. That is true. You can get it. Let me tell you now. The American embassy, or the United States of America, we share the intelligence. We fight terrorism together. When they come and say don't come, I would only believe the ambassador, if he feels Kenya is safe, let them just close the embassy and go back home. It will send a statement. You don't tell your people to not come, and you are here, you are going to our national park, you are enjoying, you are having the tours. And remember, tourism is one of the sectors we earn foreign currency. It has been brought down by the coronavirus. We are trying to recover. And you are telling them, now don't go to Kenya. That medium is in bad faith. And America, in terms of COVID-19, as Dr. Masanga said, in fact, they are having the largest numbers Why don't they tell the rest of the people not to go to America? If they do care. So they care for the American, so they don't care for other humanity. That is very, 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 very sad and very unfortunate that it's coming from the ambassador who purports to be our friend.
It's actually
our friend cannot do what the American ambassador is trying to do. What we are trying to do is to combine efforts and slay this terrorism together. And in fact, they are saying that don't come to Kenya. So you want the terrorists to kill Kenyans or to kill other nationals? No, we share intelligence together, and I'm sure we can unfold this. But I know he picked on this because I had said as a peace and conflict expert, we are focused so much on COVID-19. Do you know what the terrorists are planning to do? Do you know when they will strike? And when they will strike is very bad. But when we know is that we get prepared. We fight COVID-19, we get prepared for the terrorists, so that life goes in. Advising their nationals not to come to Kenya, in fact, they are giving in to the terrorists. And the terrorists have already won the war because they have made sure that you cannot travel, and that is what they want. They have scared you until not wanting to come to Kenya or advising your nationals. So, Miriam, very unfortunate, and I'm asking the ambassador and the American government to consider their stand. Our tourism sector is on its belly. We want to bring it up. You saw how the president was breathing. You have seen how the cabinet secretary for tourism is trying to do. Any good friend of ours will want to revive the tourism industry. And in a time of crisis like this is when we can be able to pick our friends.
Oh, very well. And Daniel, a part of that travel advisory that was issued by the U.S. State Department also says that they're specifically warned any traveler from the U.S. to Kenya. They're specifically warned not to travel to Mandera, Garissa, Wajir, Tana River and Lamu counties, as well as the northern part of Malindi, due to threats of terrorism and violent crimes. But also what is so interesting in that list is Eastleigh and Kibra districts in Nairobi are also listed as a no-go area. I don't know, how do they come up with these areas like Eastleigh and Kibra? That is so random.
Yeah, I think I agree with the rest of the panelists that these advisory by the Embassy of the United States of America in Kenya is obnoxious and is ill-intended. I think Kenya has been a long-standing partner with the U.S. when it comes to bilateral relations, the fight against terrorism and all other tourism and you name it. But this one just coming a day after President Uhuru Kenyatta showed his confidence in our tourism sector and the way it is picking up. You saw this week the tourism CS Najib Balala was in Masai Mara together with the ambassador for Kenya tourism ambassador. These athletes called what is his name? The one who won the INEOS marathon. They were there in the world that, yes, perhaps the Kenyan tourism sector is now peaking, and the tourists can now come and visit Kenya and be able to enjoy the serene fauna that is there in Masai Mara and the animals and everything. But now coming to tell us that tourists from the US cannot visit Kenya because we do have terrorism threats and increase in crime, then it's completely obnoxious, Miriam, because one thing, we haven't had any case of terror attack in the recent past. We haven't had any serious claim of abduction. We haven't had any serious claim of crimes happening around the country, be it domestic or maybe from for the foreign visitors. So I think it is something that is formed to misconstrue the perception about Kenya and deny Kenya its fair share of tourists that are maybe perhaps embracing to come to resume their trips and be able to enjoy their stay in Africa post-COVID pandemic. So I tend to agree with what Prof has said. I tend to agree with what Dr. Matsanga has said, this is the most unfortunate kind of advisory to come at this moment in time, especially from Ambassador Carter, who has a history in Kenya. He was born here in Kenya. He has schooled here in Kenya, and he understands how this country is. So perhaps it's very unfortunate.
All right, Doctor, in light of all this, should Kenya write to the U.S. State Department there and protest this travel alert?
Yes, but how long shall we be writing every time?
As long as we can.
How long? Then it brings us to the next subject.
Yes.
How long, Miriam? How long? It's not only Kenya. How long are African countries going to be subjected to stupid restrictions that bring about chaos in their countries? How long? The Minister of Foreign Affairs will call, will write. How long? Every time we write. Yes, on terror-related activities, we agree, because all of us fight terrorism together with America. America is in Mogadishu. We are in Mogadishu. We are solving the problem America created us in Mogadishu. We are dealing with their problem. They went and told Ziad Barre that devolution can work in Somalia. They left us chaos. They left with their trousers in the knees, and some in the shoes, some in the buttocks. They left. They quit hurriedly. Left us the bad work to do. We Africans are doing the work of what Americans left for us in 1991 in Somalia. My brothers in Uganda are dying on a daily basis. My brothers in Kenya, the cousins and everybody are having a lot of depression. If you are on standby, if you have been in the military, then you can understand what it is to be on standby 24 hours, 365 days. There's no relaxation. There's nothing. We are in chaos. Look at the great areas of the rest of the African countries. How many? If foreign ministers of Africa cannot quit ICC, do you think they will write? If they cannot write to their presidents and say, Article 127 tells us this marriage is not good. You find it is very interesting that you find a government officer with a docket that he is handling ICC. It is there. Do you know that in this government of Kenya, there's someone handling ICC matters? For what? For what? And that officer earns money. He comes very early in the morning and sit there to wait for, warrants, to wait for this. Why don't you quit? If the ICC woman, before she leaves, wants you, quit. 2 years will not find you. 2 years, I swear, if you quit now, by 2022, Kenya will be free. The case can be there. But for you to come here now, you need to go to New York, seek permission. I don't know whether people understand. I wish I turned my color to a white professor. Onyali, turn my color. I'm fed up. No wonder people from Zimbabwe, Zaire, Congo, Zaire, DRC have to bleach their faces in order to be listened to. And then die you have found men. Have you seen the men dying here? You know, putting the Bazungu color to be called a Muzungu. Maybe I'm going to put it out so that the people in Africa, when they see me talking, wow, they will listen to me. I'm really very, very disturbed. People here are chasing money. People are not chasing. They are not helping Uhuru Kenyatta. Very few people are helping President Uhuru Kenyatta. Walai ya Mungu. Walai ya Mungu. You are a minister of tourism. How on earth do you appoint a person whom you know has created a problem? Then you come back to the social media and listen to the social media. What type of credibility is that? Are you helping the president? Are you helping the president? Are you a friend of the president? I have never given any advice in this country publicly which has ever led Kenya to chaos. And I want to stand high when I say I'm going to demolish that Kasmol Somali judge, that one, that Kasmol thing there. I went for him. He's gone. January, we want to see his mouth there. I have never. Yes, when I say I am going to do something, I do it. I want to show you, Miriam, because people in this country, they go and pick lies, tell lies. They tell lies. Have you seen this? These are filing. Have you seen the barcodes? Miriam, have you seen the barcodes? They are here. These are filings. These are filings. We don't talk and keep quiet. These are filings. If I talk, these are filings. Miriam, can you see that? Mm-hmm. They are here. If you say you didn't get the letter, I go here. Have you seen this barcode? What is this code? It's a barcode. Okay. Yes. 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 Stop telling lies. Don't tell lies on Matang. I file my applications. And I do my work when I know exactly what is going to come this country 2 years to come. I'm now predicting to you, if we don't remove working envelope, throw it in Indian Ocean, they will come and arrest everybody, including the remainder 14 people. When that man, that stupid goat, becomes the chief prosecutor. That's why I Wesonga, Professor Miriam, this is the evidence. I do my things. I don't talk. I do them. I suffer for this country to make my application. I don't work for this country. I'm not employed. But because I know international law, nobody can dispute me on international law. Bring it on. Bring it on. Isn't Tony Blair asking me to accompany him to see Mnangagwa? Bring it on, you people. Bring it on. Isn't he? If you think I did not tell Tony Blair in 1998 that don't touch Zimbabwe, one day you will need Zimbabwe. Now he's begging. He's calling. I am a member of the Labour Party. I will escort him. He will pass here with his jet. and we shall go to go and meet the president of Zimbabwe. Yes. But they did not listen. The British government did not listen to me. That forced me to write this book. What is Tony Blair going to see? I'm going to give him this book. I wrote this book defending a country. Look at that. So, why I have talked about this, Miriam? You know why? It's because you brought in the question that they are writing letters. Which letter? Which one? You write paragraphs and the paragraphs. Somalia writes half a page. Songa, you saw that? Somali is bitter in English. There's a problem, Jamen. Tuambiane ukweli. These applications have shown you. I have logged them. They are now a court material. You have received them. You have signed for them. And the barcode, the barcode, back on my phone. This back on my phone, the barcode has said, you have signed. Umeona? Hii, umesign. Sasa is a court material. Even if you are Maraga, Torrand, as useless as he is. You'll have to answer me. You have to write it to me and say, your application has failed. I have given reasons as to why they should not appoint a man who molested Kenyan two witnesses in a house on Ngongo Road, sexually abused them. Yes. Yes. Where is that Prime Minister of Somalia? Where is he? He thought he can manage Matanga. Where is he? Sindio sasa iko useless. Where is he? My friend, where is he? Jamen, aterere. Wachana. Wacha. Where is the Prime Minister of Somalia? Where is he?
In the dustbin.
He called me kafir. Where is he? He's gone. We thrown him out. And now that Faramijo, me, I don't hide. We shall throw him out. I am just gathering the numbers. Let him do what he wants to do. As long as he goes on being an American surrogate, Quisha, you'll smell coffee. Some coffee at the Kunyauko. He has bought too many houses. Somali people are not getting even a penny. Somali people are very poor as they were in 1991. And the leadership in Mogadishu gets more money than the Somali people themselves. I should not fight for them. They were once the most beautiful people. Beautiful people. Because the leadership in Mogadishu has reduced them to paupers. Back to you, Miriam.
All right, thank you so much. So before we leave this travel alert here by the U.S. State Department, the reasons why they said the people from the U.S. should not travel to Tanzania, even as we start looking at other African countries, is that the Tanzania government has not released aggregated numbers of COVID-19 cases or deaths since April 29th. And the embassy says visitors are also told that violent crimes and such as sexual assault, robberies, mugging and carjackings are common in Tanzania. Are these cases just unique to here in Tanzania or Africa? Or do we not see a lot of this in the US? The assaults, the rapings, the robberies, all these things, carjackings. Tell me where this is not as rampant as it is in the US, but they're saying, this is the reasons why you should not go to Tanzania. Prof.
Miriam, it seems the American ambassador to Kenya is out of touch with the reality. And when you are in touch with the reality, you can say anything. I have said that we work together, we are friends, and if this kind of insecurity is there, we are supposed to share this information with respective security agencies so that we bring it down. I know in the past, Miriam, they have tried travel advisories. Where have they gone with them? This is not the first time they are giving advisories not to come to Kenya or to come to Africa. So my take that some of the crimes they are purporting to be in Tanzania. In fact, there are more of them in the US or another Western countries than they are in Kenya. So what we need to do, Miriam, we need to see our friends. Those ones do not mount to you giving travel advice. If we could have said, perhaps the way the Tanzanians have tackled COVID-19, otherwise with hot water. But those ones, the crimes he has said, those are ordinary crimes whereby the security agencies can be improved. If they raise concern with the security agency in Uganda, in Tanzania, it is something which can be handled. So Miriam, there is something hidden. There is something more than this, and the way Dr. Masanga, and as we proceed to discuss the next topic, don't consider that all your friends can be happy with you. So many people are not happy with Africa. They don't want us to rise. But by the help of God, Miriam, we will rise. We have known who are our friends, and the American ambassador has come forward, and we know now who are our allies.
All right, very well. Daniel, so you see, in Kenya, I can understand perhaps because the figures have been going up there. But if you see how we've been managing COVID-19 compared to the US, I think we're far much better off in terms of
we have done it very well.
Yes. Yes. So now, what really shocked me in this list is Uganda and Rwanda, which have done exceptionally well in terms of curbing the spread of COVID-19. Why have they put them there? Why have they mentioned them?
In Uganda, no way. No way.
That's what I'm asking, because even if they were looking at the COVID-19 situation, Rwanda and Uganda and East Africa have done very well in terms of fighting COVID-19.
Miriam,
yes.
Bring me to this other topic.
And that's why I wanted to get in, but I wanted Daniel to respond to that. Daniel.
Yes, I think as Professor Jared Onyari and Dr. Masanga have said, it's quite very unfair, and these reasons are quite flimsy to pin down the East African countries. Because when you look at Tanzania, on the case of Tanzania, you can say, yes, they have a case to answer in regards to that, because Tanzania has not been giving out the correct figures when it comes to COVID-19. But when it comes to Kenya and Uganda, I think those are just very flimsy, lousy reasons to deny these countries some revenue that comes with tourism. And US is United States is a capitalist country, democracy, and these has much to do with the kind of revenue that these tourists will be bringing into these countries. And when you look at the US, United States of America citizens cannot invest in the capital markets when they are outside the US. That is their law. You cannot spend money investing when you are outside the US, because all the taxes have to go back to their country. And I think now saying that Tanzania and Kenya and Uganda, there is increased violence and the risk of terrorism, then that is just a mere excuse to deny these countries the revenue that they will rather have derived from tourism. And these kind of mercantilism that always has pinned down the African countries when it comes to bilateral trades between them and the Western countries and the US. So I think it's quite unfair for Kenya, Uganda, and for us, Kenya and Uganda rather, for them to say that we do have such a risk. But for Tanzania, I think it's a problem that they brought upon themselves, and they have to sort it out. But for Kenya and Uganda, I think it's quite unfair.
All right, so thank you so much there. And now that brings us to our topic, the second part of our topic, that is, has the Western world diluted the sovereignty of African countries, Doctor? And we start with South Africa, tying with everything else that we've been saying.
Thank you very much. Miriam, today's topics are coordinated. I will hit point by point, slowly by slowly, without anger, because I am angered. But I'll try to cool down my anger. South Africa, the current chairman, Ramaphosa, the chairman of African Union, helps to erode the credibility of African countries instead of enhancing the credibility of African countries. Why have I said so? It is because he was the first person to tell us after Wuhan in December. Ramaphosa was the first person to tell that he had a telephone conversation with Mr. Bill Gates. Why an African head of state, a chairperson of African Union, would stoop low to engage private conversations and make them African conversations is my question. While he was telling us and appointing a man called Strive Masiyiwa to go around to collect money for African Rescue Fund. Who is Strive Masiyiwa? Mr. Strive Masiyiwa is part of Bill Gates and the Kofi Annan Foundation. Now, you tell a monkey to go and collect wood or fire to burn the forest. Strive Masiyiwa uses Econet in Zimbabwe to trade in the stock exchange in London, but Zimbabweans don't receive the money. What was happening here? Among the rich people, there was something wrong. Miriam, up to today, and you know, God has not been very, has been very good to us. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. Amen. God has been very good to Africa. I am telling you. And I want to thank President Uhuru Kenyatta, Museveni, Kagame, for opening up their eyes and listening to some of our shoutings here. From 18th February, I have been shouting. You remember my first letter? Most of the African countries who took that letter seriously, like Uganda, you know, the Uganda government always wants to find out where I am, what I do, what I'm doing. Luckily enough, in these things, what they want to find out, they found that letter. Miriam, it could have been by design miracle to Museveni. Museveni used that letter to go back from January all people who arrived in Uganda were all called to come back to segregation centers. That is why, and I'm telling you frankly here today, that is why, even if you walk the villages of this great country, people are smiling with their masks on, but there are no people coughing. The normal cough that comes gets cured after 5 days. That flu, because most of the places are mountainous, the flu catches. You can't take a Rwandese on Mount Elgon, he will collapse. The mucus will come through the ear, through the nose, and fall down. They can only fight in the low areas. Ask me, I'm a technician in fighting tactics. So, look at this. Museveni was very clever. He picked the letter, used it, very effective, and put the army everywhere and said, if people don't wash hands, my friend, don't talk to them too much. Get Kiboko. You know, originally Ugandans in Kampala thought it was a joke. When he said you are not going to come to town, some of them tried, basically told them to go. They beat them up. They went back and everybody saw the scenes. You know, the people there, Miriam, are suffering. Some of them have no food, but they are at home and safe. I'm telling you, people in Rwanda depends on Uganda for food. But they are there, they are suffering, but they are safe. Here we people are having a problem, but I've gone away from that. Let's reach that country. South Africa itself, Miriam, is in a pathetic position. Its credibility is eroded. Ramaphosa has no credibility. Because he relies on NGOs. The highest number of NGOs on the continent of South Africa is funded by George Soros on the continent of Africa are found in South Africa. 1,996 NGOs. I can name them for you. The list, I've forgotten, I can bring it. I'll show you tomorrow. And do you know what? They pay a rand, 2 rands, 3 rands, 4 rands. Do you know that the whole of South Africa, apart from the black Amalemans, whom you know very well, I predicted on Thursday, I think Wesonga has told you. I told you that I will fix that Baka. I finished. I only needed to put my document to X, and it is over. They had to panic this morning to issue a press statement. Have you heard what they have done? They swindled the people money. Malema and the spokesman of EFF, they will be arrested by tomorrow. You have not heard what is in South Africa. It's a very terrible thing. So when you play around with Matanga here, play, but make sure that you have covered your back. I told you Malema is a thief. He gets funding from abroad. He goes at night to pick money at white people, threatening them, I will invade your farms. And they give him huge money, quiet. Now, the intelligence in South Africa uncovered white, good material. Say, get the leads, where's the money coming from? You will see tomorrow in the papers. Today it is bad news. I have sent you a clip there. I don't know whether the production can show it. It is serious. We have contacts, man. We have contacts on this continent. So when you look at South Africa, it's gone. The America has eroded its credibility. Sovereignty of South Africa is zero. We are not ourselves. We got only independence by the flag. But we don't have real independence. If somebody can say, don't travel to Mara, where a lion can even pass you without eating you. Because when the lion is full, it has nowhere to eat. It doesn't kill. Did you know that? A lion does not kill when it is full. It would be a terrible mistake for you to be found when it is hungry. But you can walk with it. In fact, you can walk. It is walking also. You find, you ask Maasai people will tell you. So we have a problem here. We advertise for our groups. In South Africa, the industry is well hit. They have eroded the credibility of South Africa by downgrading its travel alerts, making them very, very high alert. Kruger National Park, the people are not going there because of the pandemic. So there you are, South Africa eroded. Back to you.
All right, very well. And also the South African President, Cyril Ramaphosa, as the chairperson of AU, perhaps he started, his term very difficult conditions. Immediately he was given that role, and, the COVID-19 struck in the continent. But he has been criticized even in his silence, not just as the South African president, but also as the AU, chairperson on what has been happening in Zimbabwe. And it was being thought that the people who are pushing for, Cyril Ramaphosa to give a statement or to give a stand on what AU thinks on what is going on in Zimbabwe was being pushed by some external factors outside of the continent. And as we know, and we've said here before, AU basically a lot of times, acts as a gatekeeper for the Western powers. Professor.
Thank you, Miriam, for that question. Among all the African Union chairmen, Comrade Ramaphosa has performed very poor, and the reason being his regency is not in the continent of Africa. He is being controlled from elsewhere. When you hear Dr. Masanga say about the NGOs money, the rights of the Bill Gates, the rights of George Soros, and Bill Gates, they want to develop the vaccine for COVID-19 because they did on pharmaceutical. So his voice has been very silent. He has not offered leadership for the continent of Africa when it comes to COVID-19. And even in South Africa becomes the leading in numbers confirmed cases in Africa. So Comrade Ramaphosa has not done very well. We expected him to do much. And one of the things we are trying to do is not engaging. He's not engaging his peers. He seems not to be having a strategy on how to do it. But as much as I want to put a lot of blame on him, the fish you come from around the lake, it starts rotting from the head. It does not start rotting from the tail. What do I want to say? The chairman of African Union, the current chairman, is a puppet of of France. And even you are the two researchers, they said where will vaccination be experimented was on Africa, very unfortunate. So that's how we found ourselves. But the other progressive African leaders like our president and others like Museveni, we have to team up and work together and never allow the other voices from the outside the continent of Africa to take the lead. And remember, Miriam, that Africa in 1844 at the Berlin Conference, some people sat in a room and decided to partition Africa and colonize Africa. And even the African gaining independence, they did not take it very kindly. We have seen them sponsoring the military, the coups in Africa. They have never taken it very kindly. We have seen in 90s, they came up with the structural adjustment programs. We have seen them coming with the multi-party democracy. We are seeing them at the moment trying to scramble for the resources, the minerals of Africa. So Ramaphosa and other African leaders, they found themselves in that kind of situation because they are being pulled and pushed from somewhere.
Very well, Daniel.
Yes, thank you, Miriam. And I think I tend to take a similar path as Professor Jared Onyari and Dr. Matsanga. For a fact, considering that Ramaphosa had a conversation with Bill Gates, and Bill Gates, when you mention that name and regards to COVID-19, you understand that these are the people who had a very, very bleak projection of how Africa will be able to handle the pandemic. Now, it just tells you whichever side that Ramaphosa sits in all this, and perhaps he has failed as a leader when you're looking at the numbers that are coming from South Africa. And that tells you whatever is happening at the top echelon of the South African leadership, as the professor has said. So to me, I think we don't have the right leaders in AU. We don't have the right leaders when it comes to fighting the pandemic. And Ramaphosa is just such an example. If he's siding and comparing notes with people who thought that Africa is going to be a graveyard where bodies are going to be strewn on the streets and everything, then it's quite unfortunate. I think we are not borrowing the notes from the right people who can be able to motivate the populace to combat this pandemic, to educate the people on how to best practice in order to reduce the infections.
All right, and we go to Nigeria now, where last week on Wednesday there was some protesting that was taking place there in Nigeria under the hashtag Revolution Now that was started by Omoyele Sowore, a person who was arrested sometimes back last year, 3 months, and then he was released. And under some of these things that the Nigerians were, protesting about was they were saying that Nigerians are sick and tired of poverty, Nigerians are sick and tired of corruption, injustice, and untimely deaths, and they were saying, say no to injustice, yes to living wage for unemployed youths, and so on and so forth. And we know Omoyele Sowore, he is a US, I think, citizen. He's Nigerian, but he has a US citizen, and he lives in New Jersey particularly, and he's also a journalist there in Nigeria, so a lot of that. But from this protest, Doctor, that were happening and what has been happening in Nigeria, is there a possibility that the Western powers were behind even this protest that took place? Of course, the police and the army scaffolded that, and a few of the protesters were arrested there on Nigeria. When you look at the issues that they were protesting about, do they have grounds?
Yes. Let me tell you, there is something going on very wrong around the Sahara region. Who has created this problem? Macron and Trump. Macron, the president of France, decided to back General Khalifa Haftar. Whatever is taking place in that region at the moment, I swear it is going to bear out. It will bear me out. Because I predicted this long time ago. I want these people not to kill Gaddafi. I wrote and cried. I say you will make Mediterranean Sea, the North Africa, littered with dead bodies. That's as I warned about Mozambique and Tanzania and the French influence around the East African region. Today, as we speak, around Nigeria, the Sahel region, Miriam, there's chaos. These guys have eroded our sovereignty. From nowhere, that area is burning, is on fire. Do you notice that every country around that area has got ISIS? So where are we going to be? Where are we going to be? In Nigeria, Buhari has concentrated on detaining opponents, his own people, instead of fighting Boko Haram. Boko Haram has sprung from Nigeria, gone to unite with Mali up north of Nigeria. In Mali, on Friday, they called for a strike on Tuesday, a protest of about 3 million people coming to Bamako in horses, riding on horses, and they will all be there. Tell me where we are. Our credibility is gone. News that has just come in, Newsweek. I told people, they never listen. Americans are waking up right now to find that NGOs that have been giving money and information to ICC have links with terrorism. Miriam, you read the article, let me send it to you right now. Somebody from America has just sent it to us, saying that since we are doing this topic, the person wanted us to have it. It is said that GOP, Republican, calls on DOG to investigate International Criminal Court for ties to terrorism. Just now, it has just arrived now, 9:27 American time. They have just sent it now. And it says, they said, it reminded me to say, the Netherlands-based ICC has always been a travesty, but its recent cases against the United States and Israel are especially absurd. So, Biggs said a statement that outrageous to claim brave soldiers have committed against humanity, and said all agencies that have been giving information on Sudan. You remember the Sudan, there is an agency there that paid the chief prosecutor money to arrest Bashir, $17 million. There is another agency there that paid the chief prosecutor to arrest Sununu of Libya. We are eroded. Sovereignty of these countries, especially Nigeria, is the worst nightmare. You don't know where's the left, where's the right, where's the north, where's the center, where's the stomach. I don't know whether the ambassador in Kenya can answer some questions. Is Nigeria still a state? Because the pictures that we get here, we need him to give us the true picture of the government. The pictures that we get here of him torturing, of Nigerian, army torturing Nigerian civilians, tying them on Land Rovers and rolling them in villages until their skins are peeled off. We cannot show them on this. We want to ask His Excellency, the High Commissioner, to answer, to bring somebody on our television to answer some of these questions. Because, yeah, I think we shall make a call tomorrow. We need clarification. Nigeria is the big brother that we expected. But Nigeria behaves like it has no powers. The president of Nigeria talks as if he doesn't have the power. I don't know, he's a soft-spoken like that. For a long time, I used to see him when he was the leader, when he had overthrown someone. We met somewhere, bumped into each other in London. You know, there is a problem here, Miriam, very bad problem. So that is where the situation is.
Mm-hmm. All right. And Prof, while these protesters were protesting there in Nigeria last Wednesday, and of course they were the leaders there were arrested, and the banners they were raising a lot of issues, and we know that insecurity in Nigeria is a big problem, not just to Nigeria but to other countries, because we know Nigeria is the mother of Boko Haram, and of course the government has refused really to come down on this group hard, so it has continued to grow tentacles, and now it's very active in countries like Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, even in Cameroon there, so it has spread. But it's very interesting that they did not raise security as one of the things there on their demand, list.
Miriam, with or without interference from the West, the African leadership, we have not carried ourselves, and some of the issues the protesters are trying to raise, I identify myself with them 100%. My question is, how has the leadership of Nigeria, African countries,
Prof, like which one, sir?
How have they handled themselves? When you talk about unemployment, when you talk about corruption, yes, do you create conditions so that the West can find a way to penetrate and come to your home? So my advice here is, there is more than what we are trying to see. I entirely 100% agree with Dr. Masanga. The killing of Muammar Gaddafi, who had the dream of a United States of Africa. He had a dream. Tell me of the African leader today who is dreaming, who is concerned about the continent. And this is the weaknesses the West have found themselves. And we are going to see more of the demonstrations. And they are going to achieve their objectives if the African leaders don't identify themselves. Look like Buhari, President Buhari. You cannot see him the front, the behind, or what. He's just there. He has got issues. And what I want to say, my conversation is, and from my background I'm coming, of peace and conflict. Let us have a conversation. Let us engage. We have to build Africa, all of us. You don't go to America, New Jersey. You come from there, then you come to destabilize Africa. No. You come from the West with ideas. And then those ideas be brought on the table and take Africa forward. But this big man that I know it all, is what they are doing for the continent of Africa. So let me just conclude by saying I identify with issues like unemployment. If you have a large number of unemployed youths, what do you expect out of them? If we have poor leadership which does not listen, what do you expect of them? And remember, Nigeria, my dear sister, is one of the richest countries in the continent of Africa in terms of human source, in terms of oil. Who has cursed Africa? Where have we gone wrong? Even some of the issues, let me tell you, and Dr. Masanga, no, he cannot agree with me on this. Even Boko Haram, so long as they have got leadership, engage, find what is their problem and how they want to be solved. But you cannot say that you want to crush them until the last man. No. Listen to the people. Have to understand what are the issues which make them to repair or have in conflict. And if they try that approach, we will solve it.
But Doc, Boko Haram is an ideology. The same thing we see now happening with Taliban there in Afghanistan. So it's for them it's a bit complicated matter.
Yes, it's an ideology. But who has engaged them with that ideology? Who has told them this ideology is wrong?
I don't think they're ready to engage because they're thinking the rest of other faiths and ideologies are not in line with what they want because they're very narrow-minded. But still, they can engage.
All issues can be solved around the table. You can say this one can work, this one cannot work. How do you want to do it? How do you want to move forward? Involve everybody. Inform everybody. Consult people.
All right, and I've been informed that you will be leaving at 4. That will be in 5 minutes. Daniel, Prof has raised their matters that are quite pertinent, even as we continue looking at has the Western world diluted the sovereignty of the African countries. He's given a list of the things that allows the Western to still feel they have a voice in our independent.
The professor is going to run.
Yes.
Daniel can come in, Miriam. Let's answer Professor. Before he runs away with very serious indictment here on African leadership. Okay, let me ask you. You have married 2 wives. There is one wife who is always having a telephone call from somewhere, telling that the telephone call coming from, let's say, a foreign darker force, that, that man down there, even if you give him, even if you cook food, he's never going to grow fat like a matanga. He will remain thin like a wesonga. All the time, all the time. That is the way African countries are being, are being harassed. I'm telling you the truth. African countries are suffering that way. There is always somebody calling wife number 2. And the wife number 2 on this continent is NGO Makao Mutua. Ignadio Otieno. Maina Kiyai, Jonjo Muwe, Harun Dube, until you have seen them now. That's wife number 2. Even if you know now, if you go deep to the CIA report that was sent from a cable, that was sent from Nairobi to Washington, D.C., to Pentagon or to the other State Department, they must have got information of imaginary abductions from wife number 2. Am I wrong? Am I wrong? They get this information from NGO. There is one Kenyan who has shaved his hair with a square head. I don't know what his name is. He comes from the coast. He's everywhere.
Asa normal?
Wesonga. Haki something. That man, when journalists are hitting us, he's there. When the journalists are not there, he's there. When there's abduction of a nurse in Lamu, he's there. Have you seen him? That guy with a square, what is his name? You should know this, Medium. Our production team should bring pictures. Yesterday, he was there in this meeting. It's called Haki or something from Haki.
Yes. Muhuri.
Muhuri. No, the one at the coast. The one that when terrorists leave Somalia and come back, he's there. So, Mr. Professor, with due respect, some of the problems are brought by wife number 2. Uhuru Kenyatta in this country has created employment, has created a fund for the younger men. But people go and tell them how we don't, it's very complicated even to fill the form. Then they call their relatives to fill the form. You go to the house of each of these, all these heads of NGOs, all their relatives are working. But the rest of the children of Kenya are not working. That's the truth. So is it Uhuru Kenyatta's problem now? There is a Uwezo Fund. The NGO will tell you it is very complicated to fill, writes a report. But he tells his relatives, bring your paper, I write it for you.
All right, Prof, I know it's already 4. Can you give us your last words there before you leave?
Yeah, Dr. Masanga, I agree with you, but we were addressing Nigeria.
Yes.
And the protesters were talking about poverty, unemployment, poor leadership. And I posed a question. Nigeria, in terms of the human source, God bless them so much. In terms of minerals, they have oil. But still, you can see corruption, you can see poverty in that country as a result of what? Of corruption. I agree with you. Wife number 2 may cause problem, but minimize until they will have nothing to accuse you of. Like the Kegoros you are talking about, the Ndubis, the Maina Kiai, Mutua Makau, Uhuru Kenyatta and the Prime Minister are committed towards uniting Africa, uniting Kenya. They want to have a united Kenya. They address the 9-point issues. We have had PPI. Let them tell us what they represent to PPI and what happened. If I were them, I could be asking for the report before PPI to come out and see whether it can take Kenya into another step. That's my take. But I say that the people of Africa is our continent. Kenya is our country. Nobody will repeat Kenya. Nobody will repeat Africa. It is us by ourselves. The visitors or the guests we invite to Africa and to Kenya, they have borrowed time. When their time comes, they will go and they will leave us with the country, which we are going to mess if we are not going to unify it. Thank you so much.
Very well there, Professor. And just to, if it will interest you, I know Nigeria is one of the leading in terms of economy here in Africa, but also in the world, it has the highest number, the highest rate of poverty, even more than Somalia, more than Sudan, all these countries that have been having problems. Nigeria is leading in terms of the high rate of poverty. Quite a contrast there, but you've mentioned there are a couple of factors that could be making this to be, that is corruption, poor governance, and all of these things. Thank you, Professor, for your time today.
Well, see you tomorrow.
All right. God willing. Okay, so we proceed with the rest of the show. And Daniel, our Prof, has brought up a couple of issues there, and is saying as much as, Africa, we are claiming sovereignty, we are claiming independence, and we are, a lot of times you see the Western countries coming in and meddling in even very internal issues that they should not be. They feel they have a right, to do so. But it appears that we give them a leeway by the record of poor governance, the bad record on human rights, abuses and things like that. Are we a victim of our own making? Prof there, as said earlier, what is your opinion?
Thank you, Mr. Manta. Thank you. And for the record, Africans and the African leaders have to realize that the colonialists, the Western masters, never left Africa in good faith. We had to put up an armed struggle in order to kick them out of our land, and to think that such kind of people will always have any good wish for or goodwill to make us be able to achieve our economic prosperity, then that is a far-fetched dream. We can copy whatever the European nations are doing, whatever America is doing, whatever Europe is doing, but let not allow them to meddle into our affairs, into our governance. And today we do have a leadership crisis in Africa, mainly because the Western world has never cease to put its hands in affairs of the African people. We do have leadership wrangles. We do have leaders who are not serving their people quite adequately, because some of these leaders were stooges of the Western powers, were placed there by the Western powers to drive their own personal interests. And that's why these kind of leaders cannot be able to effectively serve the people. And when you look at the situation in Nigeria, this is a governance and leadership problem, where the government is unable to address the problems of a common man, and a lot of people have been driven into abject poverty due to that. So this is a problem that we can partly blame unto ourselves, but mainly it is because of the Western leaders who are always very keen to ensure that certain leaders are elected in certain positions. And let me tell you for a fact, Miriam, any country right now in the era of modernization cannot be able to take off economically unless we do have good governance, unless we have a good conducive environment that will prompt investors to come back and invest in our countries, unless we open up to globalization. And all this cannot happen unless we do have a long-standing peace in these countries in Africa. But as it is right now, Dr. Masanga has said that they opened a can of worms. They left us with a strife in Somalia in 1991 after bringing a leadership system that could not work with the Somalis. They left us with chaos in Libya after killing the former president, the late Muammar Gaddafi, rather. And that has prompted a lot of insecurity, a lot of uncertainty and chaos in the Sahel region. And also that this one has drifted all along, going down up to some West African countries. You see Boko Haram and Mali. We do have armed struggles there. So these are some of the conditions that are brought to the African continent through the Western powers and other invisible hands that do have interest here in the continent. So majorly, when you go to the issue of Nigeria, I think partly it's because of the country's leadership, but also that leadership, bad leadership, has the links to the Western powers. That is my opinion.
All right, very well. And another country that has seen a lot of meddling by the Western powers there is Uganda. We've seen, especially when it comes to the opposition and how the government, treats the opposition sometimes, really attracts, a lot of criticism, especially from the Western world, as much as Uganda is sovereign there. But, we've had a lot of them coming in and criticizing, especially the U.S. Has been very vocal in the matters in Uganda. Doctor?
Miriam, surely you want me to start on this one?
Yes. Set the space for us.
Uganda is in a state of catch-22. President Museveni will win elections very early in the morning. When the elections are held next year, he will win. And I want to tell my fellow Ugandans, I am not a Museveni friend. I'm not. Everybody knows my history. With President Museveni, we solved the war, we shook hands, and off I went to do my own things. I solved that war for him. He had wanted to fight up to the last soldier. But I said, let's sit down. Let people sit down. And America, Britain, European Union, AU, East African Community supported it. We came to the table, we finished the war, Northern Uganda came back to peace. Our terms of reference was to bring peace in Northern Uganda and the Southern Sudan. Our terms of reference was not to capture people. We were never given terms of reference to arrest coin. we are given terms of reference as negotiators to negotiate peace for northern Uganda. And I want my fellow Ugandans to understand me, why I don't want to be involved anywhere about politics of their nation. I am not a party to it, neither do I support anybody, but I pray for the peace to hold, and I pray for Ugandans to have peace. I am a member of that party, one party that brought very good things for Uganda, and I will remain a member of that party called Uganda People's Congress, UPC. My late president, Dr. Milton Obote, wherever he is now, knows I am talking. He's the one who gave me this knowledge. He's inspired me to speak, inspired me to write speeches, inspired me to write essays, inspired me to write the articles you see. My format of writing articles is Obote. I will never abandon him, and I will never abandon my party. It can remain with two members, but I will be the second one. Because my party, my party card was issued in 1968. I still have it in my house. 1968. Our party colors are red. We are the owners of the red color, which Mr. Bob Wine is trying to use. We leave it to Ugandans and those who are handling the powers. I don't want to be a leader. I just want to honor the words of Milton Obote. Never to change from one party to another. Never. I'll remain where I am. Because it had a foundation. We built the hospitals, which nobody has put a paint on. Yes. We brought 100 hospitals. If you go in Uganda, Miriam, you will laugh. These hospitals, cows are grazing through the theater where you are supposed to operate. Human being, a cow is doing more. Why don't you sell them to people? Why don't you give them to us? Private investors, we shall look for private investors. The hospital cannot function. You can't continue to say it's a government hospital. Give them, I've suggested this to Rugunda several times. Give the hospital, like the hospital in my place. Give it to me. Allocate it with me with a lease. And you will see how many doctors from where in the world, in Europe, those who love me, how they will arrive to put medicine in that hospital. It will be one of the best hospitals. Don't sell it to me. Lease it to me. Lease the hospital to me. I will bring the doctors. I will even bring a helicopter pad. The helicopter will be landing there with medicines. With the contacts that we have in Kenya, Zimbabwe, South Africa, London, Europe, France, America. We can change the place, the country. That's the type of development I'm looking for. I'm not looking for political power. We don't want political power. Because what political power will you get from an election which is scientific when there is no science? Medium, you brought me into this. I have always asked you quietly off camera, please, at times don't ask me.
Well,
you do it yourselves.
We have it on the case study, so we have to talk about it.
I have pain, I have a background pain, very strong feeling, but I am not crying anymore. I am having hope that despite all this, my country is also being policed wrongly. And I defend where I can. There is no war in Uganda. Yes, America has got it wrong to put Uganda on alert list. There is no war. There is no abduction of people. Maybe they are the ones abducting, or they are preparing to abduct. But there is brutality against opponents, which the president will address. I am not the president of Uganda. President Museveni will address, and on 7 occasions, he has arrested some of these mischievous soldiers. Yes, true. Some of them have been arrested and put under court-martial. Let's talk the truth. Let's not lie. He lies on Uganda. Yes, there are excesses. For example, Bob Wine went to Mbale, my town, wanted to do a rally. The police excessively did the whole town was full of smoke. We thought it was Beirut. Those are some of the things that at my age, at the age of, when at 60, above 60, you begin to reason, to give guidance, not to break, not to damage. You don't reason at 60, reason like the way we used to reason at 38. When I had the energy, when I demonstrated for political parties to return to Uganda, when Besigye was eating sausage and soup from the table of President Museveni. Yes, some of these things must be told to the younger generation here who listen, who think that we have not contributed. I am the one who fought for political parties to return, not Besigye. Besigye didn't want them to return. He was the political commissioner. He created the problem we have. There is no candidate today who can criticize Museveni fully. No, they don't have merit. They don't have merit. Miriam, you brought it on yourself. I can tell you now. There's nobody. All of them. The only man who has never, praised and even give a song. Bob Wine gave a song, sang a song. Wherever the Nyomuzei, Hassan Musei. What? I have never. I have stood like a man and always faced President Museveni. When I went to Kampala, I met him, we shook hands. People had refused to shake hands, we shook hands. For the first time. And I walked back, I went back to my plane, I left. With Chisano, Chikwete, Riaka Machar, and very many other people present. We have no problem, finished. But I never gave the type of songs. I never worked for him, never. The people who have worked for him today are the people posing around the country that they are opposition. They created the enemy. They created the bed. Let them sleep on the bed. Sleep on it. Yeah. Sleep on it. Mwebake kubuliri bwe mwateka wo buliri, sleep on it. Some of us did not put beds. I did not put a bed. There was a war in northern Uganda. I solved it. I was not given instructions to arrest Kony. I was given instructions to find peace. I have found peace, signed documents, signed with Museveni, signed with Uganda, signed with everybody. We finished, signed with AU, with Thabo Mbeki, with everybody, with Kibaki, with Tangula. All these documents were signed by the whole European Union, United Nations, Chisano, and the whole African Union. I finished my job. Had I been given instruction to look and arrest, all of us went and met him. There was nobody who did not meet him. Very many people met him, including Chisano, the UN envoy. We had UN army, which was guarding us, even carrying our water to drink. But they never arrested the man, they saw him. So you wanted me to do what? To go outside there and do what? Nothing. So coming back to erosion, for anyone today to accuse Uganda that there is abduction, to accuse Kenya that there is abduction, to accuse Rwanda there are killings. So don't go there. Don't fly there. Don't bring tourists. Uganda has paid the price in Somalia. Kenya has paid the price in Somalia. Why do you accuse them?
Right.
Why do you accuse them? What have they done wrong? This is just to suffocate us, to erode our sovereignty, so that we remain begging. Two, last point, not too long. The opposition in Uganda is not there. Can I tell you what is there? Ghosts. Ghost opposition. Ask me why I say. They are not united. Each one wants to become a president. Museveni is gonna win by 9 o'clock, 9 East African time. The guy is the president. So why waste people's time that you are looking? This money they are looking for now is to build another house. To build houses. Look at Bob Wine. Bob Wine sleeps in Kamoji, surrounded by poverty, with a palace. Have you seen his house? With a palace. A very big palace. If you release those people to come to eat food here, they will break the building. So you are asking for what? More money. Miriam, they are going into this election to get money. They throw money from George Soros, from Sam Fanda, Westminster, Democracy Foundation, here one businessman. There is no opposition. Costs. Each one wants to be a president. Yet the other man they are opposing is well organized. He uses both this kupiga kidogo. There are people, yes, there is no African politics which you will not have piga kidogo, equal. Let's admit that there is beating in African politics. So when you go in it, you know they will beat you. That's why for me, I'm a coward. I don't want to be beaten. That's one. Not a coward that I cannot speak for the people of my country. But I am very angered when I see Ugandans being tortured. So having been a soldier, the best thing as a man who was in Tanzania before Besigye. Yes, 1978, where was Besigye? He was not in the army. He was lucky that he was recruited in 1982. Some of us saw the dead bodies of Libyans in swamps in Kagera. So I don't want to get involved. I feel bitter for the people. But there are good things that the government has done very well. Security, 100%. Management of COVID-19, 100%. Well, yeah, there are no people dying there. Unless the disease is waiting somewhere. But there are no people dying there yet. The number between those tested and those declared is about 40, isn't it? The difference is about 40 million. The recovery rate is the difference between those infected and those remaining in the hospital is all the time moving between 45, 50, 71. You can do the current mathematics. You will see, so far they have lost about 5 people.
6. About 146 are receiving treatment. And just to, because time really has gone, so we might not even be able to look at the rest of the countries. Daniel, what do you make of the situation there in Uganda as we end?
Yes, first of all, Miriam, I tend to agree with Dr. Matsanga strongly that for an election, an election is not an one-day event. That has been my long-standing opinion. Election starts from the campaigning, the voter sensitization, the registration of voter, first of all, sensitization, the campaigns until the last ballot is counted. So, and when you look in Uganda, it's very, very difficult for the opponents of President Museveni to campaign. Just the other day, Robert Chagulanyi, the Kyadondo member of parliament, was restricted from going to hold a rally in Bale, and also he had a radio interview. So, when you say that we are having scientific elections, it means that the radio, social media, and the internet are going to be the main platform where people are going to sell their manifestos and their agenda. So if you block someone from going to a platform which they deem the most important to do a campaign, then that election itself, through the process, it is very fraudulent. Another thing is that, in Uganda, as Dr. Matsanga has put it, the opposition seems to be quite fragmented. It's not united, and they seem not to be chasing a similar goal. I happen to follow one of the candidates who is vying for Kampala women MP. And when she was asked by one of a random person who she supported for president, she herself was in FDC, but she said that from the moment she was supporting Chagulanyi, but if FDC made a decision and settled on a presidential candidate, then she'll have to reconsider. That is the kind of confusion that the opposition in Uganda has. But on the other side also, I happen to follow the spokesman of the government of Uganda, Innocent Wanyama, and you will see the kind of campaign that President Museveni is running is very much organized, and putting in mind, as Dr. Matsanga said, that he has the state machinery, and actually he can be able to press some of the opposition that he's facing in the country. Then I can assure you, Miriam, that very early in the morning in October, President Museveni will have secured another term in Uganda. So that is my thought. But on the issue of the scientific election, that is a fraudulent process. It will not hold. Africa has never had a scientific election. No country in the world, even the US, Donald Trump is talking about postponing the election because of the COVID-19. So Uganda cannot be the first, the very, very inaugural country in the world to hold a very successful scientific election when it doesn't even have the structures to do such a process. So it will be a flawed process. It will not represent the will of majority of Ugandans. That is my parting shot.
All right, thank you so much there. We still had Zimbabwe, South Sudan, and Tanzania remaining. Doctor, could you pick one of those and end it for us today?
First of all, we can do it tomorrow because Tanzania is very crucial. Mm-hmm. We must find out what is wrong in Tanzania that is not wrong in Kenya or not wrong in Rwanda. Mm-hmm. We need a whole 1 hour
we can do it
to dissect this, Miriam.
Under diplomatic links.
Because, truly speaking, you can't see the people there who are coughing. So,
Doctor, they passed a law the other week. They did pass a law that you cannot even pass any information about any disease in Tanzania. So if you do that, you will be arrested. That's why we are not hearing any stories from Tanzania. There's a law.
No, but on the ground, people who have gone there and have been there and come back, they say, even if you pass a law, but the hospital should have some patients queuing for the same. So I don't know how Tanzania has managed to do its thing. Neither have I am at a loss as to whether Malawi, if you look at the figures of Malawi, very handsomely, they finished an election. It's 1 month now, almost, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And the people have not collapsed.
No, the figures went up. I think when they were going for the elections, was around 1,000 and something. Right now, they're at 4,624.
Yes,
the death rate.
They are 4,000. Mm-hmm. With the massive campaign that they did,
yes,
we expected. Analysts, this disease is just keeping inside.
But also they say, the president said they don't have the capacity to test, say the capacity that Kenya has. So that also is a challenge. And perhaps the reason why we're seeing the low cases, they don't have the reagents and the testing kits. That could be the reason, but also, yes, the figures are relatively low.
Miriam, yes. But if you have time, let me, as you give time, let me show you something that I said, which is very important to our something concerning COVID-19, and maybe it can bring some hope to the people of Africa. I have said how much are we prepared on the pandemic in Africa. I looked at the overstretched facilities. That's one. I looked at the global shortage of commodities. That is two. I was writing this morning. I looked at the field hospitals. How many can someone in Kenya, oh, you pick a pen and take this, or you have the paper there already. Field hospitals. Do we have any field hospital? Are any governors looking for the money to build a field hospital? The only governor who has tried to build a field hospital is Governor Mutua. Oparanya has 750 beds. Kisumu is very awkward. The CS is there. They're asking the CS to resign. Kenyans on Twitter, they have asked Mutahi Kagwe to resign. To resign over what? Over one, the corruption in his ministry, and two, that the son went to drink. The son is like, now, Matanga, you charge me for my last born is 21 years old. My last born is 21 years old. Madame Audrey, she's 21 years old. She's supposed to be, in normal circumstances, she's supposed to be married. Or someone will look at her and say, oh, you are beautiful. Then she said, Daddy will kill you. So if Audrey goes out to have a drink, I only tell her not to have a drink. But I can't enforce her beyond. I only, as a patient, a parent, I will say, what time will I come to pick you up? Or the mother said, what time will I pick you up? You have to be home by 9 o'clock. Finish all what you do with your friends. By 9 o'clock, I'm coming to pick you up. So you cannot fix Mutahi Kagwe for the son who is very old. They have taken a picture, and the Kenyans, we have a problem of this Twitter because we saw it coming. We are the best people here. Yesterday we tweeted CS Balala to chase political Njoroge. Now the tide has turned. CS Balala is on the receiving end. Wanamugonga kabisa. I don't know whether Balala is reading what is going on. They have said some things I cannot say on this TV. They are on him, but like this by Tuesday, Balala will have to, I don't know what he will do. If I were him, this is too much. Now, one of the other thing I did, Miriam, field hospitals. Do we have enough? The materials, testing kits, PPEs, beds, health workers, do we have enough? Have we called upon the communities to volunteer? I hope Mutahi Kagwe.
They did. The government trained, and we've seen that has, I think, helped even at the rate of, the people who are getting better recovering from home because they trained over 60.
I have put it.
The government
thank you, Minister. I have put it there that we have helped. There is quite a lot of help coming up. People are seeing the need for communities to come up. Mm-hmm. We have one problem. We have disease. Why Nairobi is delivering disease. And Matanga, I'm not a scientist. I'm a layman. But I'm now telling you, it's coming from markets. The foodstuffs. The food that we are bringing in and bringing out. That's why Nairobi is having huge numbers of reproduction. And listen to the next one. After the food markets, well, I have done this for Mutahi Kagwe, pay some money to me, please, for free. Do the Australians, listen, Miriam, Australian model.
Doctor, we have to go now, yes.
We have to go, yes. But Australian model. Mm-hmm. Do the Australian model.
What? Explain to our viewers, what does the Australian model look like?
Only one person from the family to go and shop. Mm-hmm. If you have 10 households, get one person to go and shop. And you will identify, because the disease in Nairobi is growing because of is multiplying. Why don't you see? Mombasa people are seated inside the houses. Have you not seen that the disease is gone?
It has reduced remarkably, yes.
In Nairobi, tuna mangamanga kwa sokoni. Watu wote huko kwa sokoni. I have given you a clue. If you take it, take it. If you don't, leave it. Let me say it finally. Miriam, make cashless payments, even to the shops comparison. I am doing comparative analysis. Most Ugandans are not counting money. Most Ugandans are using MTN. Someone says, okay, how much is that? Pap. Here, we are still carrying money in gunias and trying to carry. Yet we have the most sophisticated system. The other danger of social crisis If you lock people down, the evidence I found out is that, Miriam, you could easily create a very big crisis. And that crisis is called political virus of regime change. So we shall have time tomorrow and go through this. Thank you very much. I know your time is moving for departure. Thank you, all of you. Thank you for having been here. I think we've done a very great job. Today you have done a marvelous, fantastic job. Extraordinary, is bubbling, and is bubbling even beyond. Thank you very much for the job in your headquarters in Nairobi. I want to thank all of you in Nairobi for the good job we did. And Marema is on the tenterhooks. He's appearing before the police tomorrow. So we are a television that is listened to, and we shall always continue to do the same. Very early in the morning tomorrow at 9 o'clock, Miriam, I will be awake from my time, wherever I am, to have a show with you. I wish you good luck, and I thank you so much for taking yours Sunday. I wish you great job ahead and a great joy ahead. Daniel Wesonga, thank you very much. I and Wesonga, we have different time hours. My hours are ahead, and Wesonga, we exchange quite a lot of writings and so many things. We are fire watchers now. You notice that the Punchline is the one breaking the news of the fire in Beirut. The radios had not caught it in Kenya because people just go and sleep. But we broke it up, Miriam. We have a system we pick. Thank you very much. Thank you. God bless you.
All right. Thank you so much. We see you tomorrow.